Man, look here, man. Sasha Banks was so underrated. Because
Ah,
and I'm sticking with underrated because if I gotta look at who came out, I'm sorry, man. Sasha Banks was the shit at NXT. Like, man, her and Charlotte Flair, like when they started becoming their own of who they were, man, they were the top people you hated. They had the best matches with a lot of people. Um, I think people get it twisted with Sasha Banks because she gets injured or because she knows that she is better than what the company thought she was and they were trying to pigeonhole her. So instead of accepting uh what they were thinking she should be and to how she should present herself, she fought for what she felt. And people looked at it as whiny and to me that put detriment to her in ring because a lot of people have they've punished her for that.
yeah,
But yet, while that was going on, people were praising Charlotte. But now people are tired of Charlotte, and now people are calling Charlotte overrated. And we're gonna get to that one day on the show. But for Sasha Banks as a character, she was over. Like not overrated, but she was over with, as far as a character, her heel. She can
right,
cut
right.
promos. Her in ring, she can have good matches with anybody. And she did. She put on classic matches. So I'm not gonna sit, you can't sit up here and tell me, man, this girl got to the main roster. I mean, her and Charlotte, man, they had a classic rivalry, man. They went back and forth, man. There was a benefit to it. The only downside to Sasha in that matter is she didn't walk away with the championship, and they just quickly kind of just put her to the side. They didn't continue to build her as a star, even if she wasn't getting the championship right then. They still always build people to be relevant and stars, and to have interesting matches with other people because you want to build the business. But I feel like a lot of last minute changes, a lot of not commitment to doing something. I think a lot of, and we saw this not with just her, but with a lot of people, but a lot of them just stopping going with stuff or Vince changing his mind and doing something that had no meaning or no benefit for anybody, and it was just a waste of time, and people trashed it any damn way. And I feel
Right,
like a
right.
lot of that hindered her. All of that hindered her, man, because when Sasha Banks is healthy and she's doing something meaningful, not even if it's not just for the championships, but when she was in it and she can do her thing, man, she was doing her thing. I I just always felt like she got a bad rap because of all the other stuff. But when we look at the state of the women's wrestling, or when we were talking about it and the lack there was, we were giving her and Naomi shit for the way they handled things. But then we had to look at how they did things after they left, and they didn't do shit different. They didn't do anything more with the women's championship. Hell, they didn't really bring them back or do anything with them for almost 2 months. So it wasn't even like they actually gave a damn when you had valuable women. So I just don't get how sometimes people don't want to understand it or they just don't care. I mean, you can feel the way you feel, but damn, where's the little biasness sometimes? And in the openness, you can have that argument about somebody you like, but when that same thing happens to somebody you don't like, it's like you disregard that same argument. But that argument can be made. So I've always felt Sasha Banks was underrated, regardless of injury prone or not, because a lot of people get injured in this business. And we've seen that with a lot of people. Hell, we've always felt that some people's careers could have been longer, if not for injury. But it happens. It is what it is. But and even now, she's able to go and do outside of the company and be valuable. And yeah, she got hurt, but that comes with part of this business. I mean, shit. What else? None of these people are indestructible. They all gonna get hurt. But I always feel like Sasha was truly underrated, and she didn't get her fair justice because people saw her as whiny or injury prone, and that blinded their honesty in what they were seeing.
First of all, I want to thank you for
You should. I mean, I should talk shit after you disrespected Hulk Hogan.
Hey, and while I stand on what I said,
Yeah.
I apologize for the viciousness of my words
Mm-hmm,
towards
mm-hmm,
Terry Bollea.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
But no, you know what's crazy? No, you literally said anything I could have said, but I will say this. I'm going to actually fuck your head up a little bit.
what's up.
I do feel like Sasha was very underrated, and that's bias aside. Like everybody know, man, I'm a huge Sasha fan. I'm a huge Belair fan as well. Like I
Right.
don't make no bones about that. But I will say this: this is why I give Sasha her flowers, right? And as much to what you said, Sasha is unapologetically herself. I felt like Sasha damn near found herself. Well, no, because her and Charlotte found their characters on the same time. But I feel like for a brief moment in time, I felt like Sasha was ahead of all four of the horsewomen for a
She was.
very small period of time. I
Except for
feel like
Bailey. Bailey was she was the female John Cena. She was so over. The shit was
well,
ridiculous.
well, Bailey was over with the crowd, yes, and Bailey could always wrestle her ass off. But I feel like once Sasha found her character, once she found that swag of who the boss was, I feel
Yeah,
like that's when everything just started clicking
yeah.
on all cylinders. So I feel like for a very brief moment in time, she was the head of the four horsewomen. Then of course Charlotte, man, just came out of nowhere, and I can even agree, Charlotte, man, she took that and ran with it. But
She was supposed to.
I feel like that Sasha, she really has revolutionized the business a lot. But I feel like Sasha really has done her thing, man. And I feel like like you said, with her and Naomi, I feel like those two, they really stood on their principles. They stood on their morals and stuff. And for her to, again, like you said, be injury prone, that's true. But dude, I don't know, man. Like to me, when you look at her matches, when you look at her WrestleMania matches, her WrestleMania record ain't shit. I would give you that. Her WrestleMania record ain't shit. But when you look at just the matches and the storylines, like any storyline she's been involved in, any title match she's been involved in, you can't help but to look at it and be like, yo, damn, like just assume it's going to be a great match. Whether it was or not, a different story. But you looked at her, you knew what she brought to the table. So no, I mean, I agree. Do I feel like she was underrated? Yes. Can I understand some of those concerns? A lot of that being injury prone, sure. Do I feel like people think she was a lot better than what she was? I don't feel that way, but just because I don't feel that way doesn't mean there aren't things I see or saw where I can understand why those that do would feel that way, if that makes sense.
No, no, that makes sense. You got to excuse the noise. Family coming in the house, so the dog's acting crazy. But no, that do make sense. But that's why I said what I said, because it's like I'm not. I I can't. If I gotta compare her to some of the other women, she was by far, along with Charlotte and Bailey and Becky and a few others, they were far and few from a lot of the other women as far as how well they can work the ring. Everything that they present when they come to that ring, everything that they do, from the moves to the charisma to the way they interact with the fans, what the portraying their character. Like, I look at all of those things, and you gotta make me buy into all of that. And she made me buy into the boss. She made me buy into her being that legit. She made me buy into it because you saw that she could hang with anybody. And again, man, I don't know. Sometimes fans nowadays are fidgety, when it comes to the opinions, because we all claim we really all know what's up, but there's no bias. There's got to be a little bit of bias. I mean, again, you can dislike the dislike, but
Right.
you can't just tell me everything they do is trash. Nothing is like, they haven't had some good stuff. Even if I mean, there are people I do dislike, but even I even be like, damn, that was a really good match. They actually had a really good match. They actually did their damn in that match. I actually liked it. That I might not still like them, but I actually liked that match, man. That was actually pretty good. I will watch that again.